Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. All the focus seems to be on one particular inquiry, but we must not take our eyes off the ball because there is another inquiry going on. This one is for Michael Matheson. It's the £11,000 data roaming bill. And it's come to light that yet another bit of shadiness that was covered up has come out, and that is a £300 visit to a GP. He cancelled at the last moment because he was panicking over being caught with the old wank charge, and so decided not to go to the doctors but to stay around and try and convince people through a series of lies that he wasn't a complete and utter tosspot. But that late cancellation has cost £300. And what did he do? Did he pay it? No, he expensed it, and he got the taxpayer to pay it. This surely now finally must be the point at which he's forced to resign, when he's actually charging people for his own cancelled doctor's appointments. It's far too late. There's no going back, and yet here he is, this complete and utter tosser, trying to get away with not only the 11,000, but now putting an extra 300 on top because he was too lazy. Let's have a look. Now, I don't suppose we'll know what the problem was. After all, medical histories are private, but it wouldn't surprise me if it was a bit of carpal tunnel. But we will have a look at that. But before we do, let me just say that YouTube is up to its bloody tricks again. It's deleting people, it's unsubscribing people randomly. I'm seeing the numbers there, and you go to the videos and no one's deselecting, no one's coming out. The numbers have gone down because of random bloody YouTube unsubscribes. So do please hit the subscribe button and double check that you are still subscribed if you're watching this and it may have knocked you out. So do please check. It does this. It's so annoying, and there is nothing I can do about it, unfortunately. I have spoken to YouTube, and they say, well, we don't know what's causing it. You're not the only one, blah, 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 and they give you a load of bollocks. But yeah, it does happen. So do please hit that subscribe button. Let's build this up and get this wider. But let's now look at Mr. Matheson and his latest revelation of more funds from the taxpayer paying his lifestyle choices. In this case, it's the choice not to visit the doctor and being charged. Why would you even expense this? Who knows? Anyway, disgraced Michael Matheson under threat as SNP forced to compensate medical centre who hit out at the last minute visit cancellation. So he had to go and do this thing. He said no at the last minute, and they've charged him. I don't blame them. You know, time is money and all that. The Scottish Government's last-minute cancellation of a GP visit in Glasgow led to them paying White Vale Medical Centre £300 in compensation as the SNP minister was grilled by MSPs over his £11,000 data roaming bill. The best wank in the world, isn't it? Everyone is talking about Gaza, and they're forgetting the other place, the West Bank, which is where I think Matheson thought he was going. Anyway, Matheson's job as the Scottish Health Secretary is under renewed threat after it was revealed that taxpayers forked out money to compensate the GP practice he was meant to visit, but cancelled at the last minute due to the scandal surrounding his data roaming bill. The SNP minister gave an emotional personal statement to Holyrood, holding onion, faking tears, saying all terrible things, and then throwing his children under the bus. We all remember it. He was accused of lying to MSPs, which he did, and the press and the public, about the real reason he charged the public purse £11,000 for internet charges abroad, and he finally admitted his kids use his iPad's data to watch Scottish football over the festive period. And if you believe that, you'll believe anything. Kids were down by the pool. It was a nice day. He closed the curtains. He's sitting there. His little Y fronts, slightly grey, they're old. And, iPad in his left hand, concentrating very vociferously, I'd imagine, with what was in his right hand. Get your exercise in whenever you can, haven't you, Michael? Anyway, he's currently being probed, probably like that too, wouldn't he, by the Scottish Parliament officials about whether he wrongfully tried to claim this money back on expenses, which he did, with a decision due in the coming weeks. He dodged calls to resign over the scandal, and Humza Yousaf refused to sack his key ally. because presumably he knows what Humza Yousaf is up to with someone who may or may not be Anam Kazir. However, the Scottish Daily Express can now reveal that the SNP executive drew the ire of White Vale Medical Practice in Glasgow after cancelling his visit there on November the 19th at very short notice, and this resulted in the government handing out £300 in compensation for this incident. The man is costing money hand over fist. Every single, wrist, hand over wrist. With every single thing he's doing, failing miserably and being an expensive fail. Now he can't even be bothered to turn up at a medical centre, and it's costing money again, simply because he's trying to defend his decision to knock one out at public expense. Matheson was scheduled to tour around the Denniston facility to announce the rewarding of funding to help restore the community linked worker programme. Who cares? He didn't turn up because he was running for his life. His political life was in tatters because of his personal choices. He lies, he breaks the rules, possibly breaks the law. He certainly tried to commit fraud at the end, so you've got to say it's probably fraud. There's the law broken. And yet nobody fires him and he won't resign. The man has no shame. Literally no shame. Anyway, the night before he was due to visit, this was axed, and he still faced a row over his data roaming charges as he continued to lie that it was due to parliamentary work, and he even told journalists at a similar meeting that there was no personal use on it, although he knew full well there was. Correspondence between the medical centre and the government show that officials at Glasgow premises were angered by the no-show, and a staff member wrote, "We were very disappointed that the planned minister's visit was cancelled at very short notice. Your email went to the practice manager unmanned account shortly before 8 p.m. on the evening before the arranged 9 a.m. visit. It was not seen by the practice till the start of the work the next morning." This is what happens when you put people like Matheson in charge of things. A man who's been over-promoted, who's incapable, and who really doesn't care about his job. And you can tell that by the hundreds of thousands of people languishing on waiting lists. 1 million people nearly waiting on a waiting list, many of whom will die before even being seen because Matheson is too busy worrying about the wank bill. The practice went to considerable organisational efforts, they said, to accommodate the visitation request, and we employed a locum which would allow so-and-so, the doctor's name being redacted, to have time to converse with the minister. The current locum cost is £300 per half day, and we feel the way we've been treated was discourteous and disrespectful and shows a lack of understanding of the pressures on primary care. Gosh, just think that. The health minister not understanding how doctors work. Well, there's a first. Well, not for Matheson, obviously. He doesn't understand how shoes work. Matheson did write to White Vale to apologise for the last-minute cancellation and agreed to reimburse the clinic given the circumstances involved were of our own making. Not our own making, Michael. Your own making. An official adds that it's unusual circumstances and we're not setting precedent. Yeah, bullshit. Scottish Tory Shadow Health Secretary Dr Sandesh Gillane was angered by this revelation and he called on Matheson to resign. He told the Scottish Daily Express, first of all, it should be Matheson paying, not the taxpayer. And secondly, yes, he should bloody resign. Anyway, first, Michael Matheson tried to have the taxpayer foot the bill for his £11,000 worth of roaming charges. Now he's had the government to fork out £300 to make amends for him skipping a visit to make his apology to Parliament. Perhaps if he wasn't tossing one off, he wouldn't have had to make the problem and he wouldn't have charged him. Matheson should be paying that £300, not the taxpayer. Get him back, make him pay. And then make him resign. The last-minute cancellation of the Health Secretary's visit to a vital surgery is completely unacceptable and showed Michael Matheson's complete disregard for the important work NHS staff do. This discredited and distracted Michael Matheson is not fit to be the Health Secretary. He should do the right thing and resign. And I think everyone can get behind what Gillane is saying. I certainly do. He needs to go. Matheson is just an embarrassment now. He's shown to be a liar, a thief, a fraudster, stupid, inept, and completely inappropriate man to be in the job of Health Secretary, and people are dying on his watch. Matheson, do the decent thing and resign, you piece of filth. Coming up. Now, I know a lot of people are going to sit there and go, oh, you've got no accusations. Why you keep saying accusing him of knocking one out and all that, right? Well, I'm going to say this. Firstly, he was so very, very shady to begin with. He didn't want it, this to be major issue or anything. Then he comes up with this flimsy excuse that it's kids watching TV, watching football. Okay, we all know it's football. Then you should be quite happy to hand that device over to have it inspected to see the history and have a look through all the history, all the sites that you've been to. And if, as you say, on that particular date it was just the football, that's fine, we accept it. We hand it back and go, oh, right, well, at least you've admitted it. You're paying the bill. Move along. You've still got to resign, but move along. The very shadiness of him is that even claiming it was football, he still won't hand that device over. He still won't let it be examined. Now, the only conclusion is that he must not let that be examined. He knows full well there is something on there that is going to be so bad that he can't possibly have this come out. Now, if it's just, shall we say, gentlemen's special interest documentaries, you know what I mean? Well, we all do it, and it's a bit of a laugh, right? And we go, no, Michael, knock the one out to, what are we going to say? Ladies with big knockers, or, a couple of ladies getting it on, whatever. Whatever your potential, mate, who knows, two blokes getting it on, you never know. But if it's just genuine, normal adult entertainment, again, we'll have the laugh, then we move on. But even then, I don't think it's that. I think he's so shady because I think there's something absolutely degenerate. I really think it's way worse than just a bit of special interest videography. I think it's very, very bad. Can't prove it. He won't put it over. And so he's unlikely to ever do it. But perhaps somebody could take it off his desk one day, hand it over to HM Plod and say, investigate that. And they will. I'll stop there. Thank you very much for watching. Do please hit the subscribe button. Do please hit the like button. And do please tune in again for the next stunning instalment. Till next time, stay safe, stay well, and I will speak to you later. Bye.